Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Liz Rogan, CEO of the Optical Society. OSA is a founding sponsor of the National Photonics Initiative, the NPI, and we're here today to get an in-depth look at the latest National Academies report called Opportunities in Intense Ultrafast Lasers, Reaching for the Brightest Light. So as a background, there are 4 agencies that requested and helped conduct this report: Department of Energy, Office of Naval Research, the Air Force Office of Scientific Research, and the National Nuclear Security Administration, some of you who are representing here today for those agencies. So the purpose of this report was to assess the current state and the future opportunities of this technology. And I'll leave it up to the panel to describe this technology. That's something that I find that's a bit of a challenge. But also to determine what the value of a future investment in this technologies is for this nation's scientific research, the economy, and security. So a couple of highlights came out of the report for those of you who've had a chance to read it. One was, not surprisingly, a cooperation between universities, government labs, the commercial sector that deals with laser technology, and coordinating with the funding agencies. So that will help with the U.S. competitiveness and the national security of using ultrafast lasers. And there was also a call for the importance of stakeholder engagement. That's all of us that's in this room, to help lay out a path for this investment. It very much mirrors the 2012 National Research Council's report on a report called Optics and Photonics, Essential Technologies for Our Nation. And it called for a national initiative, and one of those efforts was the NPI. Some of the work the NPI has done over the last 5 years includes AIM Photonics, the Cancer Moonshot, the Brain Initiative, and most recently, a call for a national quantum initiative. So there's an opportunity here. We've got the talent, we've got the infrastructure to take advantage of those assets to push the U.S. into a leading role in this technology. I want to thank the National Academies. And I also want to thank the Committee on Opportunities in the Science, Applications, and Technology on Intense Ultrafast Lasers, and the Board of Physics and Astronomy, Division of Engineering and Physical Sciences, and also to thank the panel, who represents experts in this field that bring both agency, international, and science expertise that you'll hear about today. I also wanted to point out that Phil Buxbaum, who is a prominent member of the National Photonics Initiative and was a contributor to this report, is here today, so thank you, Phil. And also, I wanted to recognize Ed White, who is the chair of the National Photonics Initiative. Ed, would you stand just to be recognized? And also, is Lori Green and Kate Kirby here today? Lori, so Lori is the president of the American Physical Society, also a partner with the NPI. So at this point, I'm going to turn the program over to David Lang, who is the program officer for the National Academies. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz, and thank you to the NPI for organizing this event. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm glad we're all here today for this panel. My name is David Lang. I'm the study director for the committee, the authoring committee. And I have the distinct pleasure of working with Phil Buxbaum, the chair of the authoring committee, as well as all the members of the committee throughout its roughly 2 years of work in the study process. Reaching for the Brightest Light is one of the most recent report in a line of reports in this area, harnessing light, multiple AMO physics decadal surveys, the high energy density physics, so-called X Games report, and the optics and photonics report as well, that was just mentioned. The National Academies is deeply grateful for this community's work over the years, and its diligence, and especially thankful today for the authoring committee's work and time that they put into this. They are volunteers. The members of our committees are always volunteers, and we thank them deeply for their service to the Academies and on this committee and for writing the report. They devoted an awful lot of time to it. I can attest to that personally. And lastly, on behalf of the National Academies, I'd like to, in particular, thank the sponsoring agencies at DOE and Office of Science, at NNSA, AFOSR, and ONR for supporting the committee's work, both financially and with a lot of information and in emails and questions and answering lots of questions throughout the course of the study. So we're deeply grateful for that as well. And without actually the sponsors' support, this study never would have happened. So again, thank you. Now, please let me introduce the next speaker, Roger Falcone. He's a professor of physics at the University of California, Berkeley.
Great. My remarks will be short, so I'll stay seated here. Thank you, David. Let's see. As David mentioned, I'm a professor of physics at the University of California, Berkeley. I will follow Laura as president of the American Physical Society starting in January. I was not an author on the report, but it is an area of science which I have a great interest in and have been a practitioner in for quite some time. The logistics today are that we'll have a series of talks by our five panelists. They're 10 minutes each, and around 5 o'clock we will transition to questions from the audience. So I encourage you to please think of questions now. I may have to kick it off, but there should be things simmering in your mind about what you want to ask the panelists. So our panelists today, Phil Buxbaum will kick it off. Tom Castellas will then follow. Peter Moulton will follow, and Pat Damer. So it's in that order.